Exciting week for us. We're at Redbull Rampage, and it's the first year that the women are competing. I have here Rachel Strait, who is Kyle Strait's wife. What number rampage is this for you?
My first rampage was 2012.
Okay, so that's a lot. And I just wanted to ask you some questions about what is Redbull Rampage for people that don't fully understand it.
Yeah. So Rampage is, I would say, one of the pinnacle free ride events, right? Especially here in the United States. So there's 18 male competitors. They all have to apply unless you were in the top 8 the year before, and then you get an automatic invite. And then once you get in, you're allowed 2 diggers for 7 days of digging, and you can literally create whatever you want within a parameter on the mountainside. So it's really cool because it shows like their own creativity as riders, but it's also really scary because they have to guinea pig, and a guinea pig is when they test everything that they built. So I think that's the scariest part of Rampage, is watching them test the stuff, because they don't know really. They have a good idea if it works or not. Once that's established, then probably like a day later is competition day. They get 2 runs, and then their best score out of those 2 runs wins, and that's the highest score out of 100. So there you go. So they have to draw out of like a fishbowl, and that determines their start order. So the lowest number starts first, and it goes down to 18, which is Cam Zink this year because he won last year.
Oh, okay. We have Kyle gearing up for practice. Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah.
I'm more interested right now in like how you guinea pig things, like your process.
I feel like everyone's is pretty different, I'd say. For me, I like to do run-ins for sure. Just to like, I feel like I track where I'm, especially with those really blind drops. I gotta track exactly where I need to be at that distance, you know, however far away. So I first work on like my speed checks, and while I'm getting my line to where I want to be, taking off and landing.
You usually have rocks or something as a line, maybe pebbles.
I've done the rocks quite a few times. I've done different colored dirts, whatever. But honestly, once I get that process of exactly where I know where I need to be, I don't even see those.
Yeah.
They're nice to like first initially do it, but at the same time, unless you have like a full line from how far back you are, however far back you need to be, doesn't really help. I mean, sometimes it kind of helps if there's something in the background that is like pulling you one side to the other in the air. It's helped to like guide out because you can't see the landing.
Yeah.
So that helps a little bit, and we do it occasionally. For me, it's more of the process of like routing my line into it, and as I'm doing that, I'm also gaining like intel on my speed checking.
How do you know that the speed is right?
You don't.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, it's just a thing that you do over and over again.
You've just hit so many drops that you're like, okay.
Yeah, and it's like the same idea as like when you throw a piece of paper in the trash can, right? If you're sitting in the same spot every time, then you're like pretty good at that distance.
Right.
If you move your office chair from one side to the other or wherever, you have a really good idea of how far you need to throw it, or you know, your angle or whatever that may be. So it's just like a repetition thing, right?
Yeah.
Some days you're off, some days you're not.
Right.
Most of the time you're pretty close, but it all depends on how you're feeling. I mean, obviously wind is a huge factor.
Yeah.
But guinea pigging for me, it's just riding it, getting my line, and then that process, right? Like, so like say you had a jump you built in your backyard and you're really comfortable, you know, and you feel the speed coming into it every time.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I know the speed.
Yeah.
And with a lot of these drops, they're not all the same.
Yeah.
But you have a really good idea of where and what speed you need to have.
Especially if it's flat or downhill coming into it. Yep. And then, so like yesterday, your first hit on this big drop in the background, you went a little deep.
Drop. So you do push-ups.
For sure, and I think part of that has to do with the landing was so nice. Like, so the time we hit it before, or the last time I hit it was like in 2019, and I came in from a different direction,
Okay.
And the landing didn't have as much of a really nice landing where you have a margin of error of like roughly 10 feet up, like from the top down.
That's gnarly.
And so that to us, that's like really, that's a huge margin. We're like, oh, cool. Like,
And what, that
really
drop
nice.
is maybe 70?
I think it was measured tip to tip in 2019, 50 something, 50.
Okay, but maybe where your landing is.
Oh, where I landed is, way further.
Yeah, because I can see all the landing marks. It's way down there.
Add another 20
Yeah.
to where, I don't know, whatever 52 feet was. With adding a much nicer landing to it, I kind of like,
Just like,
in a way, was more relaxed with it. I'm like, no, I can land further down there. Just don't come up short. And so that was maybe not in the first thought of my head, but definitely in my head. And then went deep.
Yeah, and so when that happens, though, is your mentality like, I got to do it as quick as possible again and get it right?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah. Because the longer you think about things, at least for me.
Well, the problem is, though, is it takes so long to get back up.
I know.
So no matter what, you're not going to be able to get it done really quick.
Yeah, but you're not going to like chill and like do something else. Or,
No.
So for anybody that doesn't really know anything or much about Rampage, what would you say? Like most misunderstood or?
I think most misunderstood is our bikes are, since we do such big drops, that our bikes are trashed. And they're like, oh yeah, they do big drops. You're like, well yeah, but these drops are different. These drops are probably, if you do them correctly, they're much smoother than your average 10-foot drop at a bike park. And yes, when we do make mistakes, sometimes it's catastrophic.
Yeah.
Realistically, like,
There's still big risk.
our gear is actually always does really well because the landings are so steep, and for the most part, we're pretty on point.
And your skills.
For sure, there's like, I mean, how to set up the bike, and like a lot of the dudes run their bikes incredibly stiff, but mine isn't too far off what I would ride downhill.
Really?
And then just a little bit stiffer.
We're professionals.
Well, since you're volunteering some words, this is Cam Zink,
How's it?
the reigning champ from last year.
That sounds good. I'm gonna keep that going.
How you feeling this year?
I'm feeling really good. I'm trying to like just stick to the loose plan of utilizing all this time of them not tearing down the build and us getting our line built so easy, or not easy, but quicker. And then just, but by today, my goal today on a Tuesday, when our contest isn't until Saturday, is probably be able to ride the whole line today. That's a very accomplishable goal because I rode half of it yesterday, so
that's rare.
Yeah, just trying to not get too eager, and that's when, senses of urgency is when bad things happen and when you're rushing things, so still chipping away, but then to be able to potentially ride the whole line on Tuesday is ridiculous.
So once you ride the line, would you start practicing any tricks, or you wait?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I got a switch 3 on top of this because I want to go switch 3 to reg, and that is probably the least dangerous trick on my line, but they're going to be the hardest. It's still a 30-foot canyon gap out of a big G out, like pretty difficult jump to, and then land with bolts to be able to regular spin off this. So that'll be one of the hardest parts of it, but not necessarily the most dangerous,
Yeah. What is the one thing you're most excited about with your line?
Spinning this big dog.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely the most terrifying part. Like the step down up top is a bigger gap, like 10 feet, I think. But flipping.
Is that the Price is Right?
Yeah, flipping step downs is significantly easier than spinning a 45. Because this to where you land is almost a 40-foot vertical drop. It's like 52 tip to tip, but like this and another one Carson and I have done is the biggest 3 drops ever. Scary, incredibly hard, but it's like the sickest feeling ever.
I can't imagine. Thank you and good luck.
Cheers.
I have Ray here, who is one of Kyle's diggers. How hard is it digging? Tell me about, so you've already dug, this is your 7th day.
Yeah.
Right, you had the whole first week, 1 day off. This is 2nd day of the 2nd week. It's been really hot, right?
Yeah, honestly, for Rampage standards, it's been pretty hot. I'm living in Phoenix right now, so after coming off of like a 120-degree summer, this is actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Not too bad, but yeah, definitely hotter than years past. I don't know, this year's not so bad. We've already built a lot of this line from years past.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just fixing the stuff we didn't like, kind of updating sections that weren't as fast to make them faster, just kind of really tailoring it to Kyle's riding style. So it's honestly been great this year, honestly.
Okay.
I like it.
How tired are you?
Not.
Not?
No way.
Savage.
No, it's not bad, honestly.
Okay.
Your hands take a beating, but like, if you dig smart, it's not bad, right? It's like as soon as your back gets tired, then as soon as your shoveling muscles get tired, then you switch to raking. And then when your raking muscles get tired, then you switch to picking. And then when that gets tired, you go back to shoveling. It's fun, honestly.
Yeah, I think there's actually something therapeutic about digging.
Oh, for sure. Like, having very tangible results from a physical effort is like something that's really satisfying on my brain. You're like, okay, I can put in a conceded effort for like 4 hours, and then you have something that's epic that can be ridden by the boys all week long. And especially like this lower stuff, like our trick jump,
Yeah.
people ride that year round.
Right.
So it's like, I fixed the pathway yesterday. I'm like, these little things were like, okay, people are gonna keep using this. It's
Yeah.
worth it. So
That's nice.
yeah, it's definitely rewarding.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, now we have Eddie or Shreddy, Kyle's other digger. You also built a really cool park this year, the
Yeah.
Bradley Park.
Yep, that was really fun. Great opportunity.
So I know your skills are amazing. Is this your first time digging?
Yeah, first time digging, first time here. Super stoked. I was definitely nervous.
Yeah.
Woke up at like 2 a.m. to get here, the first site check day. Really was kind of nervous, had no idea what to expect. But now that we're in the flow and we're going, it's really fun.
So since you haven't been here, what do you think of the terrain or like how gnarly this is?
It's insane. Yeah, it's definitely like crazy watching it on TV all these years and being with all these riders that I like grew up watching, and then seeing all the features that they hit from previous sites. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about digging, do you think?
Long days of picking and stacking stuff. These features are huge, so it takes a lot of dirt. I honestly, before I got here, I didn't understand how like a team of 3 could make something that big, but it's not bad when you get in the groove and you just grind all day.
Would you want to do this one year?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know for sure, but now being out here and like seeing everything and knowing kind of how it works, it's got me pretty stoked.
That's awesome. Great to experience it first as a digger, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Get to know the ropes and kind of how it goes and learn from what Kyle's doing and other riders. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Video does not do justice with how big these features are and how exposed everything is, especially if you're not used to the desert. And it's really so cool to see, and all the hard work that all the guys do, it's actually insane. Most people probably wouldn't hike up these hills, and these guys take their bikes up it, and they're doing multiple runs, especially in practice. Like, you have to climb up cliffs like this with your bike to get all the way to the top, and it's a really big hill. So it's really interesting to see what they can accomplish here and just how gnarly it is. Okay, I've made it over to the women practicing the day before their event, and luckily I have a little more access to watch them ride. Robin just did some few jumps, so you can hear people yelling in the background. Really cool. So it's really fun watching them work through their line. I haven't wanted to bother them too much because I know how overwhelming this can be for everybody, especially this being the first time and they're so focused, but I'll try to catch somebody to talk to them. First of all, congratulations at being at the first Rampage for women. I'm so excited because I just watched you stomp that drop.
Yeah, so smooth.
Such a good moment.
This whole experience is pretty crazy. It depends all on your diggers, pretty much. We were lucky this year. They actually gave us 3 diggers. The guys only get 2. I don't know why that came about, but definitely used all my 3 diggers, and we put together such an awesome line. My diggers absolutely killed it, and I think without a good team, you can't really put an ideal line together. Today, I ticked off my last 2 big features on my line and rode like almost T to B. I just have to connect into the big drop, which I'll do this evening. So I'm pretty happy about my line. Gotten a few tips from the guys along the way, like the first practice day at Carson Storage was like, just take it easy, don't rush things. I definitely took that to heart, so it's worked out well so far. Kind of crazy, I forget who said it, but they're like, it's kind of, it's not just Rampage competition, it's like you have to make it to the competition.
Yeah.
Just like getting through all the practice days and staying healthy and like riding out of everything is hard because we're all in the same boat, testing and pushing it, and you gotta make it to competition day.
Yeah.
So.
I can imagine how taxing it must be to be out here in 100 degrees for 2 weeks straight, digging your line in the sun, and then guinea pigging, the mental part of just guinea pigging the whole line, everything. It's a lot.
It's kind of a lot. The whole guinea pigging thing, Like my crew, I trust so much.
Yeah.
Their speed judgment, like when I do roll-ins, I almost feel like I'm not just testing everything. I almost feel like they're hitting it with me.
Yeah.
And they're like giving me all the judgment that they would have when they hit it. So
Yeah.
It helps a ton. But yeah, it's a big week. The first 2 days were definitely the hardest. I ate so much food, was totally dead tired at the end of the day. And like my whole crew was.
Of digging. First 2 days.
First 2 days of digging. Like 2 or 3 days were definitely the hardest. And after that, I don't know if our body kind of acclimatized, but I feel like the first few days I drank at least 2 gallons of water up on the hill.
Yeah.
Whereas after that, like maybe I'm down to a gallon a day. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is.
All the guys said after the first day, like first day is the hardest. So your hands hurt and then you just kind of get used to it, like you said. Well, good luck. I'm really excited to see you ride and how it turns out. And it was just so fun watching you practice anyways.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
I knew it. There you go. First woman drop. 2 back to 3
Put your hands together! The first ever top 3 in women's Redbull Rampage history has just been laid down!
Okay, it's the day after Rampage, and I was so excited from the day that I forgot to do a little outro, but I'm out here right now to do a little bit of riding on my own, and I hope the video was helpful for you to learn a little bit more about what Rampage is about. I hope this video was entertaining, and see you next time. Thanks. You need to let off the throttle, Kyle.
One sandbag? Okay, I think we'll just pack it into the step up. That's perfect.
There's no riding outside of the venue area!
Floor is lava. Hey, could you hear Stevie? He said go, Carson. Don't suck.
Spirit.
Flap.
That was sick.